Om Sri Lakshmi Narsimhaya Namaha. Valmiki Ramayana, Kishkinda Kanda, Chapter 31. Lakshmana angrily goes to Kishkinda. Summary. Enraged, Lakshmana goes to the extent of saying that Sugreeva is to be eliminated and then Angada and others will search for Seetha. Perturbed by his brother's anger, Rama pacifies him and sends to Kishkinda, whereon, seeing that infuriated, hissing, snake-like Lakshmana, monkeys are upset. Lakshmana sends Angada to Sugreeva to inform about his arrival. Sugreeva could not comprehend firstly because he is in an inebriated condition, but later comes to senses on the advice of his ministers. Chapter 31 in detail. When Rama, of undeterred stamina, has become pitiable while erring for Seetha, overcome with grief, while the search for Seetha is becoming futile, overwrought with anger, while Sugreeva is reneging on his promise to such an elder prince brother from a godlike king, his younger prince brother Lakshmana spoke in this way: as a forester, Sugreeva will not abide by the conduct of gentle folk. He is not appreciative of the fruits of incidental events like gaining kingdom and regaining wife occurring out of your deed of eliminating Vali. Hence, he will not enjoy the prosperity of the kingdom anymore. Obviously, his prudence is behindhand, isn't it? Without any notion of requiting the beneficence you have accorded, he is insanely involved in primitive pleasures. Such as he is, let him see his elder brother Vali when slain. Hence, kingdoms are unaffordable to dishonest. Unbearable is this anger that is tiding quickly. Now I shall kill that unfaithful Sugreeva, and the best braving monkeys shall search for the princess Seetha, remaining under the command of Vali's son Angada. Thus said Lakshmana to Rama. Rama, the slayer of braving enemies, spoke this well-thought sentence that includes persuasiveness to Lakshmana, who is with an irrepressible wartime anger, who has appraised his intention to slay Sugreeva, and who, on taking his bow, is now leaping at Kishkinda. Certainly none of your kind shall commit this sort of sin in this world, and if such a situation occurs, he who by his noble gesture kills his own anger is a valorous one, and he really becomes the best one among men. Thus Rama is saying to Lakshmana, Lakshmana, as person with righteous conduct, you are not supposed to understand this matter in this way or undertake in this way, but you are supposed to adhere to the aspects of friendliness with Sugreeva, and the affinity earlier existed in dealing with him. It will be apt of you to speak to that re-anger Sugreeva with placating words rather than with causatic remarks, and his sin is no more than flouting the time frame. Thus Rama said to Lakshmana, that brave one and the slayer of braving enemies Lakshmana, thus schooled expediently by his elder brother about the means of gainfulness, that best one among men proceeded to enter the city of Kishkinda. That right-minded and well-informed Lakshmana, who is bent on doing only that which is agreeable and beneficial to his elder brother, then swallowing his anger and wielding a bow which is shining forth like the bow of Indra and which is standing out like a peaking mountain, proceeded towards the palace of the monkeys, namely Sugreeva, and with such a bow he appeared to be the peaking Mount Mandhara and like the era ender. Lakshmana, the non-defying adherer of Rama, a co-equal of Brahaspati, that is Jupiter, in intelligence, and then mulled over the exact words of Rama to be spoken to Sugreeva, possibly reply of Sugreeva on them, and his own sensible counter-reply to them, enwrapped as he is in a furious fire fired up by the desire of Rama for Seetha, proceeded to Sugreeva's palace like an embittered whirlwind, aided and abetted by a furious fire, while knocking down Sala, palm, Ashwakarna trees with his might, raising mountain crests and even other trees with his strength, splintering boulders underfoot. Lakshmana made haste through an enmeshed path, leaving off 1 foot pathway as with an elephant striding fleetly, and proceeded swiftly, impelled by the mission. Entrenched among mountains, impregnated with Vanara army is the magnificent citadel of the king of monkeys, and the tigerly Ikshvaku, Lakshmana has seen such an impassable city, namely Kishkinda. While his lips are quivering owing to rancor towards Sugreeva, Lakshmana saw formidable Vanaras at the outpost of Kishkinda. On seeing the most notable one among men, Lakshmana, all the elephantine Vanaras available in the gorges of mountains have grabbed hundreds of mountain crests and gigantic trees, and they are at the ready. But on seeing all of them handling assaultive peaks and trees, Lakshmana's fury has become twofold, as with a fire to which much fuel is added. On seeing overexcited Lakshmana, who is like the time god and the epoch ender, troops and troops of those fly jumpers quickly fled away in all directions with scare coiling their body. Then on entering the palace of Sugreeva, some best one among monkeys have appraised about the arrival of Lakshmana and even about his fury. At that time, he who is in a lustful mood, who is in the company of Lady Tara, and who is enmired in privacy, that foremost monkey Sugreeva is unheedful of the words of those bold monkeys who brought the message. Then, as directed by ministers of Kishkinda, in order to figure out the mood of Lakshmana, some of the elephantine monkeys who are frightened just by their appearance, whose sheen are similar to mountains and dark clouds, have gone out of the city. All of those brave Vanaras are armed with their own teeth and nails, and all are with tigerish pride, all are hideous in looks and horrendous by their faces. Some of those Vanaras are with the might of 10 elephants, some 10 times more, and some with vigor matching that of 1,000 elephants. Infuriated, Lakshmana has seen that Kishkinda, an unassailable city, as those great mighty monkeys flaunting trees are spreading throughout it. All of those monkeys then, exciting from inside of the compound wall of the castle and coming underneath of the iron latches of the castle gateway, have become visible and stood up to Lakshmana with their ebullient might. On envisaging Sugriva's blunder and of his elder brother's expediency, that sensible one and the fury restrainer Lakshmana again went into the restraint of fury on seeing the monkeys. With his long, fiery, and endless exhales and eyes bloodshot in fury, the tigerly man Lakshmana is like a fuming fire. Lakshmana has become identical to a five-faced serpent, as his curvy bow looked like the curvy hood of a serpent, arrowheads looked like the poking tongues of the serpent, and as his own fervency is proliferating as the serpent venom. Angada, succumbing to the high despair caused by the scare, neared Lakshmana, who is aglow like the fire of perdition, and like Adishesha, the 1,000-hooded king of serpents, who is perforce infuriated. With his eyes reddened in rancor, that highly adorable Lakshmana sent a word through Angada, saying, "O boy, let Sugriva be informed about my arrival," and said this way, "O enemy destroyer Angada, O boy, you may say these words to Sugriva, O enemy destroyer Sugriva, distressed by the distress of his brother, this Lakshmana has arrived in your presence and waiting at the door. O Sugriva, the Vanara, if you are interested, it will be apt of you to listen to his advice, either by coming here or inviting him inside. Saying so, O boy, Angada, you come back quickly." Thus Lakshmana spoke to Angada. On hearing the words of Lakshmana, Angada is muffled up in grief, and on arriving in the presence of his father Sugriva, he informed, "Saumitri has come." Bewildered in his perception at the very sharp words of Lakshmana, mighty Angada then has gone to the palace assuming a very sad face, and there he firstly saluted the feet of his father Sugriva, and then at the feet of Rama, wife of Sugriva. Angada, whose vitality is intense, clinched himself to the feet of his father Sugriva, and later clung to the feet of his mother Tara, and he even clasped the feet of his paternal aunt Rama, and latching on to the feet of his parents, then he stated to appeal to them about the message of Lakshmana. Sugriva, the Vanara, who is bound up in drowsiness and dizziness, could not comprehend clearly what Angada is talking about, as he is benumbed with intoxication and even numbed down with the torpor of lustfulness. The hearts of mobbing monkeys are flustering with fear when they poured over infuriated Lakshmana. Thus the jabbers jabbered so as to appease him. And those monkeys, on observing Lakshmana's instantly instantly raised a hubbed at his nearby that is similar to a storm of torrent, thunder of a thunderbolt, and the roar of a lion. With that uproarious noise of monkeys, Sugreeva came to his senses, but because of stupor, his coppery eyes are helter-skelter, and his garlands and ornaments are topsy-turvy. On hearing the words of Angada, two ministers who are agreeable in their advice and appreciable in their aspect have come along with him. And those two ministers of the kings of Vanaras, namely Plaksha and Prabhava, have appraised Sugreeva that Lakshmana has arrived to discuss variously about the prosperity and probity. Those two ministers sitting around and nearby Sugreeva, who is seated like the king of wind gods, namely Indra, on appeasing him with meaningful and expressive words, then spoke to him in this way. Rama and Lakshmana are the brothers who abide by truth, highly providential, and though they are worthy enough to rule kingdom for themselves, they have bestowed the kingdom to you. Such as they are, they have become your true friends. Thus started the ministers to say to Sugreeva, one among those two, Lakshmana, is biding at the door, wielding his bow, by whom the monkeys are panicked and venting out alarums, shuddering utterly. This Lakshmana, the brother of Raghava, has arrived here at the decree of Rama on the chariot called his endeavor, charioted by the charioteer called the word of Rama. O merited one, even Lakshmana has ushered this Angada hastily, O king, the precious son of Tara, to your presence. O king of monkeys, such as he is, the brave Lakshmana is sticking fast at the door with an evening of rancor on his eyes, and as if to burn down the monkeys just with his eyes. You may approach him quickly along with your son and relatives. O great king, prostrate yourself before him, holding him in reverence, and thus let his bitterness be indeed pacified now. Whatever the virtue-souled Rama says that you have to implement wholeheartedly, O king, you abide by the forthrightedness of your promise, stick up for the pact you made. Thus the ministers advise Sugreeva. Thus, this is the 35th chapter in Kishkinda Kanda of Valmiki Ramayana, the first epic poem of India. Sri Moola Rama Vijayate. Om Sri Krishnarpanamastu.